The Cleveland Browns have always been a team defined by turbulence, but something about this moment feels different. For months, critics and insiders painted Shadore Sanders as little more than a distraction, a young quarterback with name recognition but not enough substance to back it up. They said he was wasting everyone's time, that he didn't belong in a league that demands experience and discipline over hype. But the whispers coming out of Cleveland today suggest a far deeper story. The narrative that once aimed to undermine Shedeur is being rewritten from the inside out. This isn't damage control anymore, it's a calculated shift in tone. A sign that the Browns are preparing for something big. According to insiders close to the organization, the Browns have begun laying the groundwork for what could soon be the most anticipated transition in their recent history. Shadore Sanders isn't just being protected from criticism, he's being positioned. The message from the top is clear: Jimmy Haslam and the Browns management are making sure that before Shedeur takes his first snap as a starter, the dirt surrounding his name is gone. They're cleaning the slate, turning skeptics into believers, and doing so with precision. For months, the conversation was about whether Shedeur could live up to his father's reputation. Now, the tone has changed. It's about when he'll get his moment, not if. Even more telling is the fact that this shift didn't come from Dillon Sanders or anyone within the Sanders camp. It came straight from the Browns' own headquarters. That detail changes everything, because when a team begins leaking positive narratives about a player, it means they're not just covering their bases, they're preparing the fan base for an eventual reveal. The Browns, burned by years of quarterback controversies and poor PR, aren't about to make the same mistake twice. They're seizing control of the conversation early, signaling to loyal Shedeur supporters that their guy isn't being benched or forgotten. Instead, he's being groomed, quietly and carefully, for something much larger. Jimmy Haslam himself hinted at this long before the season began. Both rookies will play, he said, almost casually. But in hindsight, that wasn't just a throwaway comment, it was foreshadowing. The kind of statement that only gains weight when the pieces start moving behind the scenes. Now, as the Browns coaching staff begins to face mounting pressure from fans and analysts, Haslam's words look less like a prediction and more like a plan. Shedeur's path is being paved in real time, and Cleveland seems determined to control every narrative step along the way. The turning point came after the Browns' narrow loss to the Minnesota Vikings, a game that exposed more than just flaws in execution. It revealed cracks in Gabriel's composure. Gabriel's stat line looked serviceable: 2 touchdowns, decent accuracy, and flashes of leadership. But when it mattered most, when the game was on the line, he couldn't close. That's when longtime Browns reporter Mary Kay Cabot stepped in with her subtle yet unmistakable critique. In a carefully worded post-game tweet, she didn't just report the score, she framed the moment. Gabriel, unable to finish the job as the Vikings win 21-17. She wrote, "It was more than observation, it was accountability." And that single post set off a ripple effect across Cleveland media. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't about Gabriel's promise, it was about his inability to handle defensive pressure. Cabot reminded fans of his earlier pre-game remarks, where he dismissed outside distractions, a veiled reference many interpreted as a swipe at Shadore Sanders and his growing fan base. At the time, it felt like quiet confidence. But after his collapse under pressure, those words began to sound hollow. Because in the NFL, confidence means nothing without consistency, and Gabriel's performance left both teammates and fans questioning whether his talk matched his talent. Even those within the organization seem to understand that this isn't just about on-field performance, it's about narrative control. The Browns' brass knows the Shadore Sanders name carries weight. Every mention of him online, every highlight clip, every moment of speculation drives engagement, fuels debates, and builds anticipation. By carefully steering that conversation, they're ensuring that when his moment finally arrives, it'll feel like destiny, not desperation. It's a delicate balance. The Browns can't afford to bench Gabriel outright without risking backlash or fracturing the locker room. But they also can't ignore the tide of momentum building around Shedeur. So instead, they're threading the needle, allowing the narrative to evolve naturally, letting analysts and reporters do the talking while the team quietly prepares the stage behind the scenes. Every leaked report, every favorable soundbite about Shadore's work ethic, every "he's ready" comment from insiders is part of a bigger picture, and that picture is beginning to take shape. The franchise that once struggled to find stability under center may finally have its answer, and they know it. Shedeur's composure, maturity, and respect for the process have impressed coaches and teammates alike. He's not demanding the job, he's earning it quietly. That's why the shift feels so authentic. It's not about hype anymore, it's about readiness. Cleveland fans have seen too many false dawns to get carried away easily. But this one feels different. Maybe it's the calmness in Shadore's interviews. Maybe it's the way his teammates talk about him, like a player who commands respect without saying much at all. Or maybe it's because, for once, the Browns seem united in their vision. No chaos, No leaks designed to tear down, just calculated preparation for what could be a new era. The critics who once called Shedeur unproven are now walking back their words, realizing that what they mistook for inexperience was actually patience. Because while others were chasing the spotlight, he was studying the playbook. While others talked, he listened. That kind of discipline doesn't always trend on social media, but it wins games when the moment comes. And make no mistake, that moment is coming. The Browns are setting the stage for a transition that feels both inevitable and poetic. Shadore Sanders, once seen as an outsider in Cleveland's plans, now stands at the edge of opportunity with the full weight of the organization behind him. From Haslam's early comments to the recent leaks and subtle praise from insiders, the signs are all there. This isn't random noise, this is the calm before the rise. So the question now isn't whether Shedeur will play its win, and when that day comes, the narrative that once tried to bury him will flip completely. Because stories like his don't just fade, they evolve. The kid they said was wasting time might soon be the one rewriting Cleveland's future. What do you think, football fans? Is this finally the moment the Browns hand the keys to Shadore Sanders? Or is this just another media smokescreen designed to push Dillon Gabriel to his limit? Do you believe Cleveland is truly ready to bet on the Sanders legacy, or are they still testing the waters? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you think Shadore's rise is inevitable, hit that like button.